More than half of Americans will retire without enough money to cover their basic living expenses. Not their dream retirement, their basic expenses. That elderly couple on that couch worked for 40 years, showed up every day, and still ended up financially unprepared for retirement. The statistics are on that wall for a reason. Retirement poverty is not rare. It is the most common financial outcome in the wealthiest country on earth. Sitting at that desk at night running the numbers, and the numbers are not lying. Most people are heading toward a retirement they cannot afford. Here is the number that should genuinely frighten you. Over half of working Americans have less than $25,000 saved for retirement right now. That man in the armchair worked hard his entire life. The problem was never his effort. The problem was one single devastating miscalculation made decades earlier. 40 years of work, and still financially unprepared. That is not a personal failure. That is a systemic mathematical mistake almost nobody catches in time. One miscalculation. That is all it takes. And most people make it in their 20s without ever realizing the cost will arrive in their 60s. This is not about laziness. This is not about irresponsibility. This is about one specific financial blind spot that destroys retirement outcomes generation after generation. Here is the psychology behind this. Retirement poverty does not announce itself. It builds quietly in the background for decades before anyone notices it arriving. The miscalculation is this. Most people think retirement is something to plan for later. The math shows it is something you must fund from the very beginning. That chart on the projection screen shows everything. 2 lines, same contribution, 10 years apart. The gap between them grows into hundreds of thousands of dollars. Sitting at that desk at dusk running the compound calculator, the numbers are not complicated, they are just brutally honest about the cost of waiting. Starting at 25 versus starting at 35, same money, same return, 10 years difference. The outcome is almost unrecognizable from each other. 10 years of early saving beats 30 years of late saving. That is not motivation, that is mathematics. And mathematics does not negotiate. That young version of yourself at 25. Every month they invest is worth more than any month invested after 35. Time is the asset nobody talks about. Standing in that office looking at the retirement fund data, the message is always the same. Start early. The math rewards nothing more generously than time. Sitting in that armchair with the retirement calculations open, the numbers keep pointing to the same uncomfortable truth. The best time to start was years ago. Compound growth is not waiting for you. Every year you delay it moves further away, not by a little, by a compounding and accelerating amount. Here is what the math actually shows. A 10-year head start in retirement saving is worth more than 30 additional years of trying to catch up. $500 a month, starting at 25. 7% annual return. By 65, $1.3 million. The math is not complicated. It just requires time. Same $500, same 7% return. Starting at 35 instead of 25. Retirement balance, $610,000. Same money, $700,000 less. That gap on the monitor is not from bad investments or high fees. It is purely the cost of waiting 10 years. $700,000 of waiting. Left side starts at 25. Right side starts at 35. Same contribution every single month. The 10-year difference produces a retirement outcome gap that cannot be closed by working harder. $700,000. That is the price of 10 years of delay, not lost to bad decisions, not lost to fees, just lost to time. Sitting at that desk at night with the calculator, the math keeps producing the same answer. Time is the single most valuable asset in retirement planning, and it cannot be bought back. That clock on the living room wall is not just tracking time. For your retirement account, it is tracking compound growth that either exists or does not, based on when you started. That young employee at their desk, the auto-enroll notification on their screen, that one click is worth more to their retirement than any raise they will ever receive. The compound interest tables in that book tell the same story every time. Starting early is the single most powerful retirement decision available to any working person on earth. $500 a month does not sound like retirement wealth, but $500 a month for 40 years with compound growth. That is 1.3 million reasons to start today. Behavioral economists call it present bias. Your brain values today's comfort dramatically more than tomorrow's security. And that one cognitive bias destroys more retirement accounts than any market crash ever has. The new car is real today. The retirement account feels abstract. The brain always chooses the concrete over the theoretical. Every single time without exception. That rent bill on the desk feels urgent and real. The retirement savings app on the phone feels optional and distant. Present bias makes the wrong choice feel completely reasonable. Standing in that office corridor beside someone choosing a lifestyle upgrade over retirement savings, they are not irresponsible. Their brain is just doing exactly what evolution designed it to do. Concrete present wins over abstract future, year after year, decade after decade, until one day the future is no longer abstract. It is next year, and the math is unforgiving. Sitting in that armchair at night with the bills, the retirement account neglected on the screen, this is not failure. This is present bias playing out exactly as behavioral economists predicted. Year after year on that timeline, the cost of delay growing, compounding, becoming something that no amount of future effort can fully reverse. Present bias has a compounding cost too. Look at that open plan office. Every person at every desk making the same present bias decision, choosing today over tomorrow, funding the present instead of compounding the future. That retirement savings notification ignored for months. Not because they do not care, because the brain is hardwired to prioritize what feels real right now over what feels theoretical later. Here is the truth about present bias. It is not a character flaw, it is a biological feature. But understanding it and building systems around it is how you beat it. Start at 25, save 10%, start at 35, save 25%, start at 45, save 35%. The math does not negotiate, it just escalates. Those 3 percentage cards tell the whole story. Every decade of delay adds 15% more required savings just to reach the same retirement destination. The cost of waiting is not linear. It compounds. That auto-invest schedule on the laptop, consistent, automated, invisible. This is what retirement security actually looks like. Not dramatic, not complicated, just consistent and started as early as possible. Setting up that automatic contribution takes 5 minutes. But those 5 minutes, made at the right age, are worth more than years of manual saving made too late. The math on that projection screen does not require perfection. It requires consistency. Starting small and staying consistent always beats starting big and stopping. Every single time without exception. $500 a month for 40 years beats $2,000 a month for 10 years. Consistency and time beat intensity and delay. That is the simple math of retirement most people never see. That young couple setting up their first retirement savings together. This moment, this specific decision made early, is worth more to their financial future than almost anything else they will ever do. The math does not care about your circumstances. It does not care about your excuses or your intentions. It only cares about when you started and how consistently you continued. Start small. Stay consistent. Those 4 words contain everything you need to know about building a retirement that actually works. Everything else is noise around that simple truth. Sitting in that armchair with the retirement plan in hand, this is what financial control feels like. Not complicated, not overwhelming, just deliberate, consistent, and started today instead of tomorrow. That auto-invest button, 1 click, 5 minutes, and your retirement savings begin compounding without a single additional decision required from you ever again. Payday arrives. Before the lifestyle gets funded, the retirement account gets funded first. Pay your future self before you pay anyone or anything else. That order is everything. That young employee setting up their 401k for the first time. This is the single most financially important thing they will do in their entire career. And it takes 10 minutes. Phone face down, automated system running, retirement account growing quietly in the background. This is what financial peace actually feels like. Not exciting, just compounding every single day. The best retirement plan is not the most sophisticated one. It is the one you start today. Automate it, make it invisible, and let time do the heavy lifting for you. Left side at 65, stressed, broke, and dependent. Right side at 65, calm, secure, and free. Same income, same career. One decision made decades earlier changed everything. That retired couple in the living room, calm and financially secure. That did not happen by accident. It happened because decades earlier someone made a simple, consistent, automated decision and never stopped. That portfolio screen showing decades of consistent growth. That is not luck. That is not genius. That is the mathematical result of starting early, staying consistent, and never letting present bias win. Standing in that corridor with the clarity of someone who has made the right call. The retirement account is funded. The system is running. The future is being built right now. Smarter mind, wealthier life. The version of you that is 65 years old is counting on the decision you make today. And that version of you deserves better than broke.